Hi everybody, welcome to the GEICO 15-minute Moto Show. I'm your host, Ralph Shaheen, and joining me today, four-time Monster Energy Supercross champion, Ryan Dungey. RD, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, thank you.
So we're recording this early in the morning. Have you had some of your Ryan Dungey coffee yet?
Yeah, you caught me in the middle of it. Yep, got the cup of Joe ready to go.
Okay, so let's talk about the coffee first. What's going on with it?
Yep. So, started the coffee company about a year ago. Just always had a passion for coffee. Just throughout my racing career, developed it. We traveling overseas, around the country, just became a passion and something that, back in 2010, I wanted to kind of dive into. I didn't because my racing career was full bore. But when things slowed down with the racing side, we jumped in, and so far it's been great. Yeah, been fun.
Okay, so I'm not a huge coffee guy myself. My wife Kimberly is, but I know there's a wide variety of coffees. So do you do a particular one, or you do a wide different brands?
Yeah, no. So we roast all of our own coffee, and we just actually came out with our 5th roast today. So we got everything from light roast, medium roast, and now today we came out with our dark roast, which is called Charge. So we got everything in the lineup, and we got they're everything from Peru. We got origins from Peru. We got Guatemala, Colombia, and then some. So it's all direct to consumer online. So everything's online, but it's roasted, small batch roasted, freshly shipped. And it's been a fun process. And, it's been a great year so far. It's been received really well, and everybody's been liking it. So it's awesome to be able to kind of do your, be able to live out your passion and something you enjoy.
Yeah, so passion obviously for you started with motorcycles, obviously, and motocross/supercross, and that passion is now carried off into these other areas like the coffee. But why motorcycles? What was it about motorcycling and motorcycle racing that ignited a passion in you?
Oh man, it's back when we were 5, and me and my brother was about 7 at the time. I was 5, and my dad got us a dirt bike. He did it growing up. And, we played all the ball and stick sports, football, baseball. It just like when we got on the dirt bike, there was just something about it. It was like, it was just unique, I felt. And to me, every time I got on the dirt bike, it was the sky's the limit. Like, you get to go as fast as you want, as hard as you want. And of course, you learn the hard way along the way. You take some crashes and stuff, but I just me and my brothers, we just all enjoyed it. And it just kind of stuck with us. And then being a young kid, I actually saw it on TV. I didn't, it was about 2 years later after I got my first dirt bike. But when I saw, Jeremy McGrath and they're racing inside, Dallas Fort Worth Stadium, I was like, hey, that's what I want to do for a living. And like right then and there, it was just like, I was hooked from the day I got on the dirt bike. But when I saw it on TV and I learned I could make a living out of that, then it was like full steam ahead.
And you really had kind of an unusual rise to the top too, because you were making noise in the amateur ranks, and then Roger DeCoster comes along and just, for what a lot of people thought, picked you out of left field, if you will, and said, no, I believe in this guy. That's an amazing amount of pressure.
It was. My amateur career was not stellar by any means. I remember when I turned 16, I was blowing out the candles thinking, it doesn't look like it's going to happen, this year. And so I caught a break after that. And that's where I got an opportunity to go out to California. We got to visit Roger, I went to Roger. Me and my dad approached Roger at a race, and we were like, hey, will you give us a chance? And he's like, it worked out. He set up a ride day. It was so surreal. It was like how it all happened in the amount of time that it happened in. It was like within like 3 weeks that things just progressed forward. And we had a test at Glen Helen, and Roger liked what he saw, and that later that day he's like, yeah, we're going to get a 2-year contract signed up for you. And it was just, that was the biggest break I feel like I could have ever got, and having that opportunity to then like, all right, then it all started. And that's when it was challenging, but at least I had a good foundation of people around me, a good bike, good support, to build off of. And yeah, super. I mean, if it weren't for that moment in my career, it could have gone a whole another way, which I don't know, but I'm glad it went the way it did.
Yeah, it really was kind of crazy how it all came together. And I know too that there's millions of kids just like you at that same point in time, right? And they're all going, wait a minute. I beat him last week, right? You know that guy is out there, right? And he's going, I beat him last week. And so what do you think it was that your dad said or you showed that made somebody of Roger's level go, I see something there?
I don't know. I mean, ultimately, just when we would go to these professional or the pros, we'd go to a couple supercrosses. Cole Gress at the time was our, amateur support team. He guided us. He was kind of in control of that, but he was in touch with the bosses like Roger and Ian and those guys. And when we went up to Roger and Ian at the race, they had somewhat heard about, I wasn't the next guy in line. I mean, there was Nico Izzy, there was other guys beating me for sure. But we just said, hey, gosh, we hope that it would work out someday that I would get to ride for you. And we just tried to establish a good relationship there. And as things moved forward, there were some things that kind of happened, like Nico ended up kind of got injured. And so it kind of set him back a little bit. So it kind of bumped me up to kind of be the next guy in line to go that direction. But man, I don't know. It was one of those moments that was something that really bothered me. Everybody's like, well, why did he get it? There's so many other guys who have the potential that deserve that ride. And rightfully so, for sure. But I was like, you know what? It happened. I got this break, and I was forever grateful. Like, I need to make the most of this and not waste it. And so, and it was there's so much that leads up to that, right? I mean, your family throws everything at it. The support they gave me, the debt that they were in to get me to where I was at. Like, I remember when I was 13, I thought to myself, like, if I don't make it, like, I'm going to be paying off this loan the rest of my life, and I remember the financial stress that it had on us. But not to go into greater detail, but it's like, that was something that motivated me. Like, hey, so when we got that chance and got that break, like, all right, we need to move forward. And it did bother me what other people had to say about it, because they were kind of right, but I had to prove myself, and it was, if anything, it was more motivation to make sure that I didn't waste the gift, right? So
yeah, I think it's that's one of the things about motocross that I don't think you see in any other form of racing. I know there's people in the amateur car racing that, certainly put out a tremendous amount of money and everything, but you hear about it a lot more in motocross. What families will do to get their youngster in a position to have that opportunity. And I think maybe what's different about with Moto is that guys are so young when this is all happening. Like you said, you're 13, thinking about the financial stress your parents are under. The average 13-year-old is not going through that. That is big boy problems that you're thinking about at 13, and having to figure out how to win come the weekend. So now you make it to the pro level, and I think one of the things that really worked for you was your work ethic. I mean, so many guys obviously at that level have a good work ethic, but not everybody has a great one. Where did your work ethic come from?
I'd have to say from my dad. Coming from where, my dad was a construction worker. It kind of happened one day, actually one summer. I was going into fourth grade. So that summer between third and fourth grade, me and my brother got into a fight, and my dad had to come pick me up. so that it was really early in my summer vacation. And I remember I went to work with them, and I liked it, and so then after that, every day I went to work, and every summer I went to go help my dad working with him. And, but my dad was just, he was just, his work ethic is amazing. And I think he taught us that, we need to apply those same things. And, whatever we did, whether it was riding the dirt bike, if it was training, being prepared, doing it right, doing it right along the way, and not shortcutting it. I think that's where I saw a lot of, that's where I learned a lot, and just from the beginning, I'd have to say. And then ultimately too, within the sport, trying to follow the great guys at the time, it was like Ricky. I mean, the guy was known for working hard, and you've seen, okay, if you work hard and you believe in yourself, like what you know, you're capable of a lot more. And so just trying to kind of follow some of the role models that had kind of, who led the way and had been successful, and applying that to my career. So that was, you know, it's I'd say between those two.
Yeah, you also had a great rival at the time in Ryan Villapoto. The Ryan and Ryan show really, I think, for both of you, elevated the careers for both of you. Both won 4 championships, had great careers in Supercross and in motocross as well. But it's always good, I think, certainly in that form of racing, to have that other guy. And you seem to, Ryan wasn't a bad guy, but he tended to have more of that black hat wearing kind of vibe to him, and you have the white hat kind of guy, and that really always plays out well too. Did it help to give you somebody to shoot for every week?
Oh, 100%. And specifically Villapoto, you know, just, you know, as hard, as a tough as a competitor as he was, he really helped elevate my game, because it's like I couldn't ever, like, I feel like I could never get that edge on him. So I'd have to go back and work harder. I'd have to figure stuff. I'd have to apply myself on the dirt bike, practice certain thing, you know, work on my weaknesses and strengths. Right. And that guy, I mean, he gave me fits for most of my life, you know, and from amateurs and through the professionals, and he, you know, he always was kind of the better guy. So, you know, I was always kind of chasing that, and, you know, and that was good. At first I didn't realize it. At first it was like, man, this really sucks. Like I can't handle getting beat like this anymore. But later on you realize like almost what a blessing that is, to have somebody that helps you elevate your game. And that was, and the other thing with the physical side and the work ethic, it's like, you know, I couldn't handle sitting on that line knowing that like, oh, I shortcutted it, or if I could have done more. Like I was almost on the edge. I was almost to the point where I was always doing maybe too much, honestly. But like, it made me feel good when I was sitting on a line. It made me feel confident. And if I was a little bit tired, well, that was okay. Cause, you know, I was probably in a better mind state than if I, you know, thought I could have done more. So
Villapoto doesn't get any free coffee.
no, not not as hard as he was on me in my career. No, he can have all the coffee he wants for that matter.
Is there a moment as you reflect back on your moto career that you go, that was it, I was never better than that day?
A moment that just that things were clicking.
Yeah. Was there a particular race or, you know, an event where you go, man, I never rode better? And it might not have shown in the stats, you know, but you just knew yourself that you were as good as you were going to get.
You know, I would have to say, and thankfully it was later in my career, because, you know, you have these good moments in your career and you're thinking, is there going to be better? And 16, Supercross of 16 was probably like mentally, physically, just had this calmness, this peace, that and confidence that, you know, was able to kind of build that momentum from 15 going into 16. And but the 16 Supercross season was probably like, man, I just felt like things were clicking. And looking back, that was like, at the time not knowing it, but that was like probably the best I ever felt on a bike. And it took a toll too, because physically, you know, the mental stress that I underwent, and then what happened in the outdoors, it led to being really tired. But that kind of Supercross season of 16, and things were clicking.
I think one of the greatest for me that I got to call of your career was that night in the Metrodome in Minneapolis when you won in front of the hometown crowd. Man, that was spectacular.
Yeah, that we were just talking about that the other day. Like, to this day, that was my favorite race, and I know it was my hometown, but like the way the stadium was like on their feet, especially as the laps were counting down, and I remember like in my helmet, it was so distracting because it was so noisy. Because that Metrodome, you know, when it was loud in there, it was loud, and like echoed. And then, but yeah, just thinking the last 2 laps, like I hope I can, you know, don't make any mistakes. Villa was right on me. You know, it's not all the time you beat Villapoto, but we did that night, and that was my favorite race of all time, of course.
As we wrap this up, there was a time recently where you actually started making some noise about coming back. And I wondered about that. It was like, man, you got your beautiful wife and your beautiful daughter. You got everything you need. You got coffee. You're involved in a mountain bike company. Why? What was it? 4 championships. I mean, you're on the Mount Rushmore. What was missing that made you think, man, I think I might want to go back and risk all of that again?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't want to, you can look at it a lot of ways. Like of course, yeah, I have so many good things in my life, and it wasn't like, oh, things are so bad, I need to go back racing. No, for me, I've never been one to want to make decisions off of fear or risk. I mean, if you base everything off that, you won't do anything. You won't even walk out of the house. It's just like, I also want to move forward. But for me, like, I was really tired at the end of 17, which kind of led to being done. But, as I rested and recovered and was looking, that passion started to come back and that fire to do it again. Like for me, I never did race for the money. I mean, the money was nice. Don't get me wrong. It was great. And it led to a lot of great things in my life. But for me, I really enjoyed racing. I truly did. It was a passion of mine. I think that showed, and it is a fast-paced lifestyle. You're going, you're racing every single weekend, and yeah, where we are now, it's a little bit slower, but it's not bad. I just was like that kind of fire was coming back, and if there was a door that allowed it to open up to do it again, man, I would have done it, if it was the right deal. But I said to myself I would never come out of retirement, and I was really ignorant too at times at the end of my career, because I just was like, well, I'm done. I'm never going to be the guy who comes out of retirement. But I realized afterwards, like, man, I do enjoy racing. I really am passionate about it. And maybe those aren't great reasons to come back, but at least like I'm doing things that, I'm living my life the way I would want to live it, not somebody else trying to tell me how to live it. So, but it also didn't work out either. So we knocked on that door and that door wasn't there. But yeah, it just was, it was fun. You build relationships. Riding is fun. The racing is fun. You meet people on, a lot of all my friends are in that industry, you start to miss that. So, but yeah, it just, call it crazy, but just was one of those things that kind of wanted to seek out. And if there was a door that was open, the right opportunity, I would have done it under my terms of Supercross only. That's what we were looking to do.
Right. Well, hey, since it's morning here and we're, doing this interview and you got your coffee, I'm having my breakfast of champions with my Ryan Dungey Wheaties, okay?
Just need your yeah, that's right. Looking good.
All right, buddy. Hey, thanks for joining us. I'm Ralph Shaheen with Ryan Dungey, the 4-time Monster Energy Supercross champion. Thanks for joining us, folks, here on the GEICO 15-Minute Moto Show. We have a new episode coming for you every Monday here on Speed Sport. Thanks. We'll see you soon.